weapons, and you've been hit with a weapon or two, I'm sure, in your life as a professional wrestler.
A major in finishes and a minor in weapons.
Well, and you should get a certificate on that wall for it. I thought you were getting a diploma anyway.
Coming, tell Dutch I'm going to make my diploma soon.
Fair enough. Competing educational campuses in Florida. With that being said, we're going to, and I'm going to explain it from here, we're going to go A, B, D, C. D doesn't hurt at all or incredibly little. All the way to A, as in, my God, that hurts a lot. So, in the ranking system, with that, I'm going to give you a bunch of names of weapons that I suspect you've been hit with, and you give me a ranking and tell me why. And the first one is because we were talking about Adam Page, and it's a hot topic yet again with Adam Page, Swerve Strickland, and Jack Perry. A chair shot to the head.
Hey. So you're happy because the last one with the finishes, there weren't a whole lot of A's. Now you're getting A's. Yeah. I know why you do it. You're doing this segment.
I should also say it's obviously going to depend on who's swinging the weapon as well. So if you can give us like a rough average of, I guess, everybody, I suppose. We talked about chair shots to the head a lot. We won't dwell on that. We've not really talked about so much chair shots to the back. Give us a grade for that and sort of like best way of absorbing a blow.
I would talk B. I would say B. It would be a B because you're obviously not getting concussed, but it hurts. It knocks the wind out of you. And if you're carrying around soreness from your back, which here's the thing, wrestlers all have sore backs, it hurts. Now, the trick is too, like some guys brace. Do you know how you take it and you come back like that with your elbows and you kind of like writhe back? Some guys do that early before the shot in anticipation. And what do you think happens to both their elbows with the chair? That's the other thing that can happen is if you get clipped with a chair shot, like if you're, the famous thing where you're laying on your stomach and they're hitting you in the back, but they're hitting the mat, but you start to roll over and they start swinging. The bursitis in both of my elbows and the bone chips and the fluid that I needed drained, that was the most annoying part sometimes with a chair shot to the back. It's a B, but it can be a long-lasting B if you get clipped in your elbows or somewhere around your shoulder or something. It can really hurt.
I know this recently from me because I was kneed in the stomach. It wasn't a fight; it was just training, and the sort of with pads and everything, and that rattles through me, and I actually feel it more in my head than I do, my stomach or wherever I'm being hit. Is that the same for, I imagine, a lot of these weapon shots, but for a chair shot to the back, especially because of the size of, the
it reverberates,
span.
To use a big word.
Yeah.
Reverberates throughout your eye. But it almost, you could feel it in your teeth if a person's really wailing you. And of course, if you don't shave down the chair, it hurts more, according to some people.
Absolutely. Next one, Barbwire. Have you ever worked with Barbwire?
2 times. The 3-way dance with Sandman and Terry Funk, Sandman splashed me. That was real barbed wire, and that didn't feel good. We used the fake barbed wire in TNA when Mick Foley wrapped it around me and then dropped. It was Final Resolution, myself and Raven versus Abyss and Mick Foley, and then he dropped the elbow through the table off the stage. That still scratched me, even though it wasn't real barbed wire, because he started, I'm trying to move. But the Sandman splash and the way I sold it, I just went, oh, it was like the Wicked Witch. I just went down into a puddle on the apron, but it hurts. And you know what? Nothing compared to Terry Funk versus Sabu, where Sabu had to tape his bicep up. So there's 3-prong, 2-prong, and then there's prop barbed wire, from what I understand. 2-prong is there if you need it, but you try to spread them out. That third barb in the barbed wire is what usually sticks everybody. But it's real. I'd rather go with the plastic barbed wire.
I was going to ask you exactly. Is it because like WCW was always said it was rubber tipped barbed wire?
Yes.
But
yeah.
So it was rubber tipped essentially. So the wires are actually soft rather than like sharp plastic.
Yeah, but I'm still scraped up, and I'm like, how did this happen?
Well, give us a grade for both.
Oh, yeah, barbed wire's an A. Fake barbed wire's like a D. Because you're not hurt, you just get a little scraped.
Next one is thumb tacks. And also, I don't know if you've ever worked with anything Like, 'cause I was talking to you off air that, I was at All In last year and they used like glass and, the clear glass on a canvas. You couldn't even tell what it was. And I'm sure that hurt a lot. But have you ever worked with anything similar to thumbtacks like glass, like Lego or whatever? I don't know.
Both. I've taken choke slam, black hole slam from the Abyss into the thumbtacks. It is the most nauseating. It's like a near out of body experience.
Mm.
It's nauseating. So it's an A right there. So, our backup, if that didn't work, was the syringe in the mouth and he would take my gold teeth out, but we didn't need to go that far. What was the other one?
Like Lego or
glass,
shards
yeah.
of glass or whatever.
Glass. Here's an interesting story. I had a match. I call it my last match, November 2nd, 2019. It's on my YouTube channel. Myself versus PJ Hawks, Luke Hawks' son. He had just turned 21 that day. So I asked Luke, can you bring a prop beer bottle? Because there's psychology right there. The psychology of the weapon, him turning 21, telling the commentators to hit those points in that match. So what happened was it was such a like candy glass type of thing. Someone just bumped up against it and broke the bottom. And I said, well, I got an idea. It's going to be more visual if he kicks out of my kicks. I come to the back because I didn't want it out there because it would just break. And I have a broken beer bottle that I broke backstage to bring to him. It was dark glass. So you could see the white glass you think would be shinier under the lights. But like you said, it blends in too much. So I made sure he got a dark beer bottle. If you couldn't tell, I'm an overthinker. So I made sure a week ahead of time, every day, give me this beer bottle. I need this one. And what happened was I tried to stab him with it. And he started kicking, we were struggling, closer, closer, closer. Then he kicked me, grabbed the beer bottle. And what was really important for me, whether it's candy glass or not, you don't want to get hit right here. You don't want to get in your eye. So I had him swing me around and hit me in the back of the head just to make sure that, dude, that's the last thing I needed to happen or anybody. And then he pinned me. And then basically on his 21st birthday, I tried to stab him with a beer bottle and he used the beer bottle back against me to beat me on his 21st birthday. That, like John Lovitz, that's acting, that's psychology. But you know what I mean? You have to think that deep because we had all sorts of other weapons that we never got to because it just wasn't there.
See, that kind of deep thinking, I do think pro wrestling could use a bit more of these days in the mainstream.
Well, if they don't want it, you can always start your own show or podcast.
Yeah, or YouTube channel, I guess so. Glass. Thumbtacks, we said a glass or the beer bottle itself. What are you saying?
See, because there's a danger factor if you don't take it right. You could definitely get in your eye. If you ever broke a jar of glass, 3, 4, or 5 days later, it's still slivers on the floor that you walk across, right? So there's an inherent danger and a long-lasting effect. I had it in my scalp and hair like 2 or 3 days later. How to get out of it. It wasn't sharp, but it was not fun.
For our American listeners, which make up the majority of this, metal bin, or as you would say, trash can.
That's also very important to make sure that the handles are taken off, that there's no edges or bumps. That's what I was saying. We're going to do the Nia Jax thing with the bonsai drop, and where the lid went right across Mia Yim's stomach. That's sharp. So you got to be careful with trash cans. You got to gimmick those up. You got to take all the stuff you can off of them, especially if you're getting suplexed, body slammed, you're getting superplexed onto it, I would give it a B. It can be concussive. It can be dangerous. It's not easy, but you can avoid because the trash can, it folds up pretty easily if you get hit over the head with it. So there's an inherent danger, but it can be easily kind of like minimized.
We don't have those kinds of receptacles around here. I mean, we do to a point, but they're all like cast iron or something if we have it in that. But like in America, they seem to be like made out of tracing paper. So when I was a kid watching these things, I was like, I wanted to buy one so I could land on them. You know, they seem great to use. Something very similar, the lid of said bin lid trash can kind of thing.
Same exact thing, because you got that handle, and even if you take the handle off, there's somebody with pliers trying to flatten it out, and that's something sometimes they file it down a little bit, because getting hit with the top has the handle and all the stuff, but it's also the part that has give. If you hit somebody over the head from the inside, it's already up. If you hit them with the top, it folds in. So there's more room and give for that particular thing. Like I said, dude, you're gonna get scraped. You're probably gonna get slashed. You're gonna get cut open. There's more than a 50% chance, even with those precautions, that something bad's gonna happen.
Having said that, grade?
Grade, I would say that's probably a B. It's pretty difficult. The lid, the area too is smaller. So you have to make sure that you're very accurate, especially hitting somebody in the head with it.
Next one, and I'm sure this has got to be an A because I don't think I've ever heard anyone say anything, you know, that these feel good, is the Kendo stick.
Oh, it's a D. I just did that to be
Stop it.
Be spiteful. This depends on who's swinging it.
Sandman.
A plus 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 plus. I ran out of my voice. I had a few more pluses left in there. Because, dude, Hack would hit you across here. Hack would hit you in the ear. Hack would hit me on the base of my neck. Hack was just, they called him Hack. That was your first clue that you were getting hit. Also, we had a game because for some goofy reason, and Balls did this with the chairs, Sandman would tighten up the red string. And if I was wrestling Hack, Nova had the cape, and he would cover the kendo stick, and he would cut the red string so it would have play. Balls would zip tie chairs because people are going to know, they're going to know it's fake if I don't zip tie them. I said, well, how about you keep that stuff away from me? Keep your zip ties over there. But the kendo stick is an incredible tool. Like I said before, the audible sound of the crack of the kendo stick, people identify with it. When you hit the kendo stick right, like over the top of the head, and it bends this way, that to me looks more violent than a chair shot. But when you have Dreamer swinging it, when you have me swinging it, Raven, a bunch of other people, Terry Funk even, it's probably a B. You're going to get welts. You're going to get bloodied a little bit. You just have to really, just like with the glass, you got to watch splinters in your eye. It's a miracle that more guys have not lost their sight, have not been concussed and put in the comas. You think about how fortunate wrestlers are with the amount of violence, like Swerve and Page. No, I bet you they didn't even go to the hospital. They're extremely lucky.
Baseball bats. Now, I'm presuming you've never been hit full force with a real baseball bat, but have you ever worked with like a rubber or otherwise gimmicked faked
No, but
bat?
I think the Sting stuff, there's psychology, there's identity. He had the bat, and it made that much more of his character over.
A chain. I don't know if you've ever been in a chain match, but chain seems
Double
pop
dog
up
collar
from,
with the pit bulls.
Of course, I'm sorry, yeah.
Very difficult with the dog collar because, especially with tag teams, you'll see that match, right? We stop dead for a few times, and everybody's got to step over the chain and loosen it up before they do something. I've been whipped with them. I've been choked with them. It's just a difficult. It's real. Roddy Piper versus Greg Valentine, that dog collar match, Starrcade, I believe, 83.
83.
I think he did lose his hearing in his ear. He told me that story at WrestleMania. I asked him, by the way. That ear was bloodied. Even if it gigged it, he was welted. Valentine was whipping him in in the neck area, and it was catching his ear. So that's an A all across the board.
A strap, similar sort of thing. I don't know if you've been in strap matches.
I'd say C. You're going to get welded up. It's pretty safe. You're going to get the back, the chest. You're going to wrap it around your mouth, kind of like barbed wire, wrap around the mouth type deal. You're going to get choked. You're going to do the hangman spot. But essentially, all the strap matches are in a single dog collar most times is dragging and the corners. That's really all it is.
Next one, belt shot. So obviously it's going to depend hugely on the person giving it to you more than most.
And it depends on the actual belt. The old ECW tag belts were like 35 pounds, not the replica that I have in the thumbnail. They were monstrous. They reminded me of the big gold belt in WCW. The problem with the belt shots is that they're trying to graze your head and not just take your head off like a chair shot. But there's so many bumps in the engraving that you always get cut on the graze. You're almost better just getting your hands up, and you see a lot of that. But when somebody crowns you with it, there's so much detail and so much like levels of the engraving, you're getting cut no matter what.
There's a story with Dutch. He said when he was tag teaming with Dr. D, Dave Schultz, some guy like rushed him from the ring and he used one of those belts that had like an entire eagle motif actually sticking out from it. And basically, I believe on that video, some people saying that they were family members with the guy said, well, basically that ruined his entire life. Basically, he had health issues, physical health issues for the rest of his life from that belt shot that Dr. D gave him. So, I mean, that'd be an AA, A+++ as well. For a belt shot, for a heavy belt and then a light belt, I guess, if you average out all the times.
Well, the heavy and the light doesn't matter as much as the fact of what you just said. The things are sticking out, so I would give it a B.
Okay.
You're not going to get knocked out, but you're going to come out of it scathed, no matter what.
Crutch.
Crutch over the back is probably a C. You're going to feel it. It's not going to hurt. When you take it across the chest, that's a B. Because normally you're going to get it here, sternum, solar plexus. You're not just getting it in your chest. The reverberation, as you said.
Light tube. I don't know if you ever worked with one.
Never. But I would
get rid of that one then.
I would call that an A for being stupid because so much can go wrong, not just the whatever mercury or chemicals that are in the light tubes.
Like argon or something like that. I can't remember. Next one, ladder. I guess this would matter on what kind of ladder you have as well, because I've seen some matches where they've used some really flimsy ladders that sort of buckle and, made out of aluminium, as I would say, aluminum, as you would say, and then other ones that are more well-used now that, proper steel affairs.
Well, it depends on what you do. If somebody, we did a lot of ladder spots in a three-way dance with Sandman and Terry. We did a lot of cool stuff. Sandman did the thing off the top rope where he dropped it down on my back. That felt okay, but it still hurt. The trouble you get into is when somebody wants to do a frog splash, somebody wants to do a senton throw, you're under it. Getting hit with it's one thing, but when you're trapped and somebody's like splashing you, Rob with the rolling thunder, you're trying to get your arm up here, but you just don't know. You're going to get banged up. So that's an A. I think it's an A no matter what.
Staple gun. You never had a staple gun, have you?
Never.
Or a syringe in
Never had a staple gun.
Okay, we'll move that one. Have you ever been hit with a street sign?
Yes. Oh, Dreamer, yeah. Got hit with a street sign, lots of stop signs. Got DDT'd on it, bunch of stuff. I would call it probably, if you get hit in the head, it's an A. If you get hit anywhere else, it's a B.
I'm going to get rid of that next one. It's not even worth mentioning. Have you ever been slammed on or had thrown upon you a stretcher?
No. I've been on stretchers. I've been on stretchers.
Have you ever worked with a fire extinguisher?
Oh, yeah. And I hit PJ with the fire extinguisher as well in that match. And the key to that was getting my hand over the butt of it. And I hit him here still. It was physical. But I hit him in in the trap and kind of grazed as he bumped. So it looked good. But he hit me. He didn't know. He didn't know what to do. You got to watch the match. He hit me in the back. I sold, but then he didn't know what to do. And he just came across and he goes, "Oh," and hit me in the chest. I was like, "Oh my God." And then he started choking. I was like, "Leave me alone. Get out of here."
Oh dear,
I
that
the fire
sounds
extinguisher,
awful.
if you protect somebody, it's like a C. You're gonna get like a back fist, if you're holding it. And if you hit somebody in the chest throat area, it's an A.
Now, this isn't fair, really, to say, because we've done a video on this before, a barricade. But purely as pain, let's say if it doesn't break your neck.
God. Well, I have no experience with them not hurting. But I've taken ones where I've taken backdrops onto them in the ring where they're kind of, like a table. Uh, I would say there's just so much can go wrong with the guardrail. I know it definitely, like, if you're not taking like a body slam where someone's looking right where they're putting you, even a backdrop can be very dangerous. I know like Crowbar loves to put it across from the apron to the thing. Stuff can go wrong there as well, where you can slide off or you hit your back can hit the meat at the top or the bottom where mine got it clipped in the back of my head. I would call it an A based on experience.
Do you know what, right? After all these, we haven't had a D yet. We've had the opposite
You
problem from
you
the
love the A.
rankings.
This is your favorite one because you
Oh,
wanted
yeah.
the A's so bad with the finisher.
Oh, God, yeah.
Dude, I
Oh,
wanted
God, yeah.
D's all across the board for this. I can't do it.
I've actually scrubbed out tables. I think we'll talk about tables another time because I think that's going to be a longer affair. But we've got a few more here. Shopping cart.
That's a tricky one because I love the spot where you're in the shopping cart and they ram you into the ring post. I did that against Jay Spade in Wildcat. And dude, my testicles reverberated from hitting the thing. But then there's a two-part problem. The first part is you hit and you're like, "Ah," like Barney Rubbled with the shopping cart. But then, yeah, use that as a gift right there. But then the hardest part is, and this is like if you're a heel, the babyface feels like I'm gonna ram him into it. And then if the shopping cart doesn't tip over, I'm just gonna throw it over. So I got thrown over, my elbow hits the I'm like, "Oh my," I'm selling nothing that hit. So I'm laying there and I'm just like, "Oh my God." But what I always wanted to do, and I could never have the guts to do it, Raven versus Rhino hardcore match. I don't know which pay-per-view it was.
I think it was a Backlash, I want to say. It's like Backlash 2001 or something, I think.
The spear into the shopping cart. Now, I'm not a wide dude, but that's a tight window for me. Rhino must have been scraped to high heaven, but it was one of the, and then the chair shot. And see what I mean? The threat and the audio of violence. He never touched him with the chair. He hit the shopping cart, but the sound was so sickening. That combination right there with the shopping cart, my God, this, I don't know why I snapped my fingers. Chef's kiss. That thing, you want to talk about a perfect storm of a hardcore spot. Go back and watch it. Amazing.
So for grading,
Well, Rhino did it to himself, so he'd have to tell you. It looked like an A, but the
well, no, I mean for your experiences when you were sat inside and ran in
C,
post.
C, just annoying and uncomfortable and clunky.
Have you ever been hit with a TV camera?
No.
We'll scrub that.
Brother,
Cookie.
that cost Hulk Hogan the world title, brother. A photographer. That was a flat.
Oh God, that. Do you know who that was?
Jimmy Hart?
No, it's Harvey Whippleman, I think.
Oh, okay.
But they never revealed it to be Harvey Whippleman. But I think that was the guy who was under the deal. I think.
Same body type.
Oh God, yeah. Now this is the one that me and my friends used to buy from what you would term like a dollar store, but some pound shop for us. Cookie sheets.
It depends. Cookie sheets, like when people had like people brought weapons in the ECW, and there's our segue about ECW. But when they brought it, Dreamer would have to test it before he would hit me with it. Some guys wouldn't do that, and that would be usually when it was a real cookie sheet, like thick. Um, my big thing was that sometimes they would buy the turkey basting sheets. Those are terrible. You know what I mean? They just fold if you can crinkle them up like a piece of paper. The cookie sheets are great, but then you get a super thick one, that's an A. So depending upon the standard, like thin cookie sheets that still can make a sound are a D. You get the thick ones that don't make a sound, which is a combination of the two worst nightmares in wrestling with a weapon. No sound and completely kills you.
So absolutely no payoff for
Yeah.
horrendous.
The only payoff
injury.
is to the hospital for the ER visit.
I don't know why I put a traffic cone in, but traffic cone.
No, never.
Okay. Shovel, if you've ever used one of those. I remember occasionally, there'd be a snow shovel used, something like that. Occasionally metal, occasionally plastic.
I think in Queens one time, it was snowing outside at Lost Battalion Hall, and there was just a shovel there, and someone used it. I've never had it used. Wait a minute, I might have been hit in the back once, but it was not the small pick shovel. It was the wide snow shovel, which is like a thick cookie sheet, like a really shiny, bright aluminum. How do you say it?
Aluminium.
Aluminium. There we go. Aluminium.
Aluminium. Go on, give us a shovel to the back then. So is that D or C? C. A microphone.
Yeah.
I'm thinking particularly WWE, with the cube as well.
Well, you don't get hit with the cube, you get hit with the thing. So I would say probably a B. You're getting doinked, but if you ever see anybody hit anybody with a microphone, they're not rearing back. They're just doinking them like a Barney Rubble type thing.
Steel.
By the way,
Oh,
here's the nightmare too. I got hit with a microphone once, and the dude kept forgetting to turn the microphone on. So I'm like, ow, ow. And then he gave up. I'm like, well, turn the damn thing on if you're going to hit me. I'm already knocked down.
Well, you can't be knocked out again. I guess steel.
Concuss me. Just do it.
Steel steps. Now, we're not going to talk about landing on them. We're talking the WWE ones again. They come in two parts. I'm not talking about maybe a slam on the big flat surface, which I'm sure is horrible. Have you ever been hit by someone actually picking them up and dropping them on you?
No. JBL hit me in that match with meeting with chair shot and all that stuff. He threw me into it. I've been thrown into it plenty of times. I've never been whipped into them either because I just don't take a good bump like that. Those things are heavy. People think it's a work. They're heavy. So not everybody can do it. From what I see, I love the fact that when people, especially with long hair, get hit in the shoulder or they run into it and then take the bump, but see the psychology of that. And guys that do it now don't get it. It's more so you may start running at the guy, but he's already running at you. So it's 90-10, the dude running into the steps, and only 10% of you're moving towards him. But you don't run into somebody that turns around and takes it. It's supposed to be, in a perfect world, the guy taking it runs into it. So he can take his own bump at his own pace. Because you're running him full bore and he turns around too late, he can't get his hand up. But I imagine getting hit with him, like somebody picking him up, it's probably a B minimum.
The guitar. No, we're talking the Jeff Jarrett guitar with powder in it. And
I took New Jack, hit me with a guitar. No powder, I think. The strings, for some reason, those are the ones that clip you on the thing. I would probably say a B. Could have a concussive. Yeah, like the story Jake Roberts tells about Honky Tonk Man, that they didn't gimmick the guitar, but then Honky Tonk says they gimmicked so much, he was telling people not to touch it, like the beer bottle story. I would say if it wasn't gimmicked, it's an A++.
I'm going to leave out this next one because it just depends on the person punching. I was going to ask brass knuckles, but it's a punch, so it doesn't matter. I've only got 2 more left. A hockey stick.
Yes, I got hit with a hockey stick, and I would say, gimmicked or not, it kind of hurts. You can't gimmick it too much because it'll just break apart. But I got hit in the back by Newsjack with one. He would bring a hockey stick and all the other standard stuff. So uh, I would call it a B because
And
but you with those two, when you get hit, it'll hit over you, then fold and usually clip your elbow or some part of your arm, and you get that like kind of like funny bone type injury.
the last one we're going to save. We've actually got 2, but we're going to save the last one for a whiteboard segment because you actually sent me a photo of you with the facial expression of someone who just got hit with it, but we'll save that for a minute. The last one I've got on this list is timekeeper's belt.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, one of my favorite spots is the old put the ring bell in between the legs and then ring it like the bowling ball spot. My favorite of all time. Dreamer, I did it at Rome, Georgia. That video is up on my YouTube channel, the fitness one. Uh, and he gave it to me, then I gave it to him, and it broke. And I was just like, I stood there like, okay, well, and just threw it to the side. So here's a little Easter egg for you on that match. Neil Pruitt, remember, the following message has been brought to you by the New World Order. Neil Pruitt and Dave, it's still real to me, damn it, were on commentary. And guess what? I was like, one guy, I go, Neil did a great job with play by play. And then the other guy kind of got outshined and wasn't as good. And then Dreamer told me, he was like, Stevie, wacko, that was Dave doing play by play. And so Dave did a great job. Of all people who gets kind of made fun of for that meme, he did an incredible job on commentary, dude. He did incredible. Neil did a decent job, but that kid like outshined him. It was good stuff.